Let's take a look at some lick ideas to play for the second track. This is a James Brown vibe, JB&D. I'm going to play with a lot of statements that will start and end, creating a story. It's called motivic development. Started talking about it in the first track. I'll keep talking about it. But even with that going on, it's really important that the last thing that you play in your solo has a definitive end. So I'll try to play something like this at the end. So the track we're playing over is in the key of D minor. So ending on a D is definitely going to get a sense of resolution. It could be other chord tones, but that's a no-brainer. It's going to happen. The line itself leads you to think that I'm going to play that I'm going to resolve, that I'm going to end my solo. That is definitely something you want to shoot for with your own solos. You want to build a story, tell a story, and also lead to an ending and deliver that ending. So as soon as something like this starts, I feel it coming. And the rest of the band will feel it coming, and they will play with you, and they will get to that arc dynamically and resolve with you and then bring it back down for the next solo. And all I'm doing here is I'm playing a legato instance between the 2 and the flat 3, and that's something to take note of too. We're playing over a static D minor chord, and I'm putting a lot of emphasis on the 9. I love doing that. It sounds so good. And I'll do that same thing with the 6. And that equals Dorian. It's pentatonic plus 2 and 6 is Dorian. But in this case, I'm focusing on that 9. And another thing that I like to do that you might find new is the first finger will do a quick pull up and down, quick bend up and down. It's an unpredictable phrasing tool because a lot of times you're bending with the higher notes of vertical positions, and I'm doing it with the lower note, and I'm just swinging it back and forth. So it's something, a little tidbit inside the nugget there to think about too. All right, so that's one lick that we can put in there. It's going to be in my first solo. The next lick I want to show you that I'm going to play over the second solo is something that's going to give me a chance to play with something called motivic development. That was a phrase that was put into my head by David Fuzinski. I was studying with him. We first met. I was a student. And that was the first concept he threw down. And it's something that he still talks about today, as a professor at Berkeley. It's his component of telling a story. So you play off the theme. So how about this? That simple motif, that simple little nugget there is what I'm going to play off of and continue on. I brought up the concept in the first track, and I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep coming back to this motivic development idea. Now, when I first brought it up in the first track, I was leaning towards literally playing that same thing. But in this case, I'm going to change up how I play it. You might hear it like that. You might hear... where I stretch the rhythm out a little bit. I'll probably do that later, as to change it up and also to build some drama. So I'll keep it closely related, but I'll take some liberties there, because we're supposed to be artists here. And we're painting a picture. We're telling a story, however you want to describe it. But that basic motif is going to last throughout the entire solo. I do that a lot, especially when I'm soloing over static changes, because that helps keep things in order. I'll talk about that in rhythm comping ideas as well, stating 4 sections of 4. I'm doing the same thing with this. I'm marking the beginning of sections of 4. That's what makes one chord jams work. You do some of these simple things, these simple ideas I'm going to hip you to, and you'll get so much more out of these jams. And these are great to play with other people because you don't have to explain much, and everybody feels comfortable just playing, over one piece of static harmony. So that's another idea. Just a simple... You know where I got that, though? And funny thing, you never know where you're going to get inspiration from. But that particular idea there, it's a combination of 2 things. It's Eddie's awesome lick that I love in Hot for Teacher, where he goes... And it's also, it's Crazy Train. Thanks, Randy. The third idea that I'm going to turn you on to here is the idea of hitting the home run, coming up to plate in the clutch and sending one to the stands for a walk-off. You want to end your last chorus with the big one. So a great way to do that is to dig into a nice repetitive lick that builds that tension, rhythmic tension, as well as melodic tension that you're going to resolve. Now, I'll continue to play with theme within the solo, because this is a static jam. We're playing over one piece of harmony. So you'll hear some themes from me, or one theme that I'll keep repeating. But then I'm going to get to the end, and I would probably go for something like this. So I love playing that lick. It's a great Dorian lick. I mean, it could be placed in Dorian. You could do it in other ways, but in this case, I will be pointing towards Dorian, and it's a really fun lick to play. I am using a little bit of hybrid picking, so let's take a look at it slow. Let me think about it so I can play it slow. So I'm quickly going between adjacent strings. The lower adjacent string will be played with my pick. The higher adjacent string will be played with my hybrid picking finger. I tend to use my P3, my third finger, when I hybrid pick the high E string. It just feels better. I wish that the P2s felt as good as the P3 does for that particular string, because I use P2 for every other instance, hybrid picking every other string. But that's just the way it goes. You could use your P2, of course. The slide is a big part of it. Just adds a little slippery element into it. You know, and between the hybrid picking and the slide, when you start getting this thing going at the speed I'd like to get it at, it sounds great. And like I said, it's a repetitive lick that builds a tension of, you know, where's he going? How's he going to get out of it? And, you know, and that's all up to you. There's a bunch of ways to do it, but you got to have something to start building that tension. And this is a great lick to do it with. You know, it's a nice inclusion of the 6 in there. It gives that little Dorian bite. And it's in a great position, too, because there's so many places you can go to resolve that. You know, there's so many points of, strong points of resolution. You got the 5th right there. You got the root right there. You got the bend up to the root. You know, there's a lot of destinations, home destinations. So very fun lick. That is 3 lick ideas that I'm going to play over each one of my solos here over this JB and D jam. This 1 chord D minor thing, Jimmy Nolan, funky hemiola thing. So try to incorporate those into your old solos. Use them as inspiration, or try to play them, you know, as is. But don't put too much pressure on yourself. Be an improviser. Take them more in concept and try to play them as ideas to spark your own ideas. Okay? Let's go check out some comping ideas, and then we'll get to the solos.